vinyl tile?
Tile is all Kental makes, so they really know how.
The Bryants are typical of the many families who have found the solution.
Why didn't you think of this before?
I did.
The 1950s were a time of big dreams in home design. Builders and designers wanted to make houses look modern, practical, and stylish, so they filled them with unusual features. Families were promised more comfort, less work, and a touch of futuristic living. From built-in gadgets to quirky room layouts, these ideas were sold as must-have upgrades for the modern household. But most of them didn't work out. They broke easily, took up space, or didn't match real family life. One by one, they disappeared and never came back. Join us as we examine 25 strange 1950s home features that failed miserably. In the 1950s, builders began adding heavy anchor plates to house walls. Borrowed from industrial buildings, these iron stars and circles were meant to hold bricks tightly and stop cracking. Engineers promoted them as extra protection for families, promising stronger homes that would last longer. The feature looked unusual, but was sold as modern science for your walls.
Have you ever noticed old buildings have a strange metal cross on the outside wall? These aren't just a decorative device, this is an anchor plate.
Families quickly learned these plates didn't do much for everyday houses. They added cost, stood out like ugly scars, and clashed with the clean look people wanted. Normal homes didn't face the weight problems of tall buildings, so the plates were useless. Builders stopped using them altogether. Anchor plates failed because they solved a problem that never existed in suburban homes. During the 1950s, some homes were built with ice doors for block ice delivery. Appliance makers promoted these doors as innovative additions, letting delivery men slide large ice blocks straight into the kitchen icebox. It was advertised as clean, easy, and modern.
Why didn't you think of this before?
I did.
What a brain.
Come on, get moving out of here. Up. Let's go.
Especially before refrigerators became affordable. But refrigerators advanced so quickly that ice doors became pointless within a few years. Families could store fresh food for days without relying on delivery. The little doors became useless flaps in the wall. Builders quickly stopped installing them, and most owners sealed them shut. The ice door failed because technology leapfrogged past it almost instantly. The 1950s brought phone nooks as a stylish home feature. Builders carved shelves into hallways or kitchens with a landline jack so the family phone had its own space. Interior designers promoted them as elegant, tidy spots for conversation. At a time when having a phone was still a status symbol,
yes, I'd like the new number of Wilson's Meat Market, 1191 Sycamore Street, please.
These corners showed off modern living. But the idea didn't last. Phones evolved in shape and size. Families wanted more than one in the house, and the single-wall nook felt limiting. It locked technology into one place, and homeowners quickly grew frustrated. New homes dropped the idea, leaving phone nooks as short-lived relics. They failed because they tied design to a gadget that was changing too fast. The Pittsburgh potty popped up in many basements of 1950s homes. Local builders believed workers from steel mills needed a quick washroom before entering the main house. They installed bare toilets with no walls, thinking practicality mattered more than privacy.
You've got to go to the bathroom, but you don't really feel like going the whole way upstairs. Well, let me introduce you to the Pittsburgh potty, a toilet that's just...
It was marketed as a clever way to keep dirt out of family bathrooms. Families hated the awkward, exposed setup. With no privacy, it felt more like an unfinished construction mistake than a helpful feature. Guests laughed at them, and homeowners were embarrassed to show basements with a lone toilet. Constructors stopped adding them, as fully private bathrooms became the standard. The Pittsburgh potty failed because it ignored comfort and dignity. In the 1950s, pantries were marketed as the heart of food storage. Builders added walk-in closets or cupboards for canned goods and dry items. Packaged meals made companies push pantries as essential, and home magazines called them a sign of good planning.
A practical looking pantry, and not one of those Pinterest kinds that are full with so much junk and so much chocolate.
But refrigerators and freezers grew bigger and cheaper. changing food storage habits. Families bought fresh groceries instead of piling cans. Pantries seemed like wasted space, and many were turned into kitchen extensions. Builders eventually stopped including them in new homes. Push-button light switches became trendy in the 1950s. Builders promoted them as sleeker and more modern than toggle switches. Pressing a button instead of flipping a lever felt futuristic and fit the space-age style of the decade. Housing ads and model homes highlighted them as a high-tech upgrade.
This is a Bryant push-button switch. You can see it's old style where you push one button to turn it off and push the other button to turn it on.
But push buttons broke easily, cost more, and often jammed. Electricians found them more challenging to repair and didn't fit with standard wiring. Families preferred reliable toggles. By the end of the 1950s, builders abandoned push buttons, and toggle switches returned as the standard choice. Cold, dark, and tucked underground, root cellars were once added to homes as a natural way to keep food fresh. Builders promoted them as handy storage for potatoes, onions, and carrots, saying families could rely on the earth to keep things cool. The idea came from farming traditions, but during the 1950s, it was repackaged as a modern convenience for suburban houses.
And the cold cellar, and I also need to clean it out. So the cold cellar is 6 steps down lower than the basement, and the basement is...
For a short time, magazines even called them practical and thrifty, encouraging homeowners to see them as part of a smart kitchen setup. The promise didn't last. Refrigerators made food storage brighter, cleaner, and easier, while root cellars often grew damp, moldy, and unpleasant. Families disliked crawling into musty corners just for vegetables. Builders phased them out of new houses, and root cellars disappeared entirely. Tiny lifts hidden inside walls and dumbwaiters were once promoted as helpful machines for busy families. In the 1950s, builders added them so laundry, food, or small packages could travel between floors without anyone carrying them. The idea came from hotels and restaurants where they were useful, but home builders sold them as a middle-class luxury. Ads claimed dumbwaiters would save time, make chores lighter, and impress guests by showing off modern convenience.
It's basically a miniature elevator that can bring groceries up, trash down, very convenient. But if you've ever priced...
They seemed like a fun upgrade for suburban homes for a brief moment. In practice, they caused more headaches than help. The lifts were expensive, broke down easily, and wasted wall space. Parents were worried about their children playing with them, raising safety concerns. Since most families didn't need them, interest quickly faded. Housemakers stopped including dumbwaiters, and the trend disappeared. Picture rails became popular in the 1950s to hang artwork without nails. Builders placed wooden or metal rails near ceilings, and hooks let families move pictures easily. Designers promoted them as modern, flexible, and renter-friendly. Homeowners liked the idea of changing wall decor without making holes. But by the late 1950s, homeowners preferred direct hanging.
Lift the picture in place. Drape the cord over the hook. Now, if the picture isn't level, slide the cord back and forth over the hook until it hangs straight.
The rails looked old-fashioned, clunky, and ruined the clean look of painted walls. They were also hard to match with modern furniture styles. Picture rails disappeared because they felt outdated in an era moving toward simpler, seamless walls. In the 1950s, many new houses were still built with coal chute doors. Energy companies promoted them as the best way to deliver coal for heating. These small basement doors let workers dump coal directly into bins, keeping dirt outside. Builders liked advertising them as convenient and efficient, and homeowners felt modern with a direct coal supply.
Coal chute. I need one to put gas cans under the steps we're going to build.
The problem came when natural gas and oil heating spread in the same decade. They were cleaner, cheaper, and much less work. Families abandoned coal almost overnight, and chute doors became useless openings that let in cold air and pests. By the end of the 1950s, no one wanted them anymore. Builders stopped installing them, and many were sealed shut. Coal chute doors failed because fuel technology left them behind too quickly. In the 1950s, homes were often built with rigid, separated rooms. Builders promoted formal dining rooms, small kitchens, and closed-off living areas as organized living. This layout came from older traditions, and magazines praised it as neat and proper.
In their selection of such things as wall and floor coverings, and the accent colors of fixtures and appointments.
Families were told each activity needed its own separate room. But as the decade went on, families wanted openness. Defined rooms felt cramped, dark, and isolating. The rise of open-concept living made boxed-in spaces look outdated. By the late 1950s, homeowners were tearing down walls. The defined room layout failed because it didn't fit the social lifestyle families wanted. Knob and tube wiring was still being installed in 1950s homes, promoted as a proven electrical system. Builders used porcelain knobs and tubes to run wires through walls, calling it safe and reliable. Electricians liked it because it was cheap and straightforward.
This is what's known as open work on insulators. It's actually a close cousin to knob and tube. Here's knobs, and the tubes are little porcelain tubes.
Many families trusted it as the standard, but the system quickly showed its limits. It couldn't handle modern appliances like refrigerators and televisions. Overheating, fire risks, and insurance problems made it unpopular fast. By the end of the 1950s, safer wiring systems replaced it. Knob and tube wiring failed because it was outdated and dangerous for modern needs. In the 1950s, mudrooms were promoted as practical entry spaces. Builders added them as small rooms between the outdoors and indoors, meant for shoes, coats, and wet gear. They were advertised as neat solutions to keep the main house clean. Families were told every modern home should have one. But suburban life shifted.
Decided yet what I want to do with it, so I will revisit this again later. But for now, we're keeping our
Mudrooms became less useful with paved driveways, garages, and less outdoor mess. They also took up floor space that families preferred for bigger kitchens or living rooms. Builders eventually left them out of new homes. Mudrooms failed because they didn't fit the evolving suburban lifestyle. The 1950s loved bright colors, and pink quickly became the favorite bathroom shade. Builders pushed it after First Lady Mamie Eisenhower decorated it with the color, and suddenly it was everywhere. Tiles, tubs, toilets, even sinks. Interior design magazines said it was cheerful and fashionable.
Strip all the wood, fill all the damage that had been done over the years, and repaint it, as well as fix all.
And new homeowners were told it was the perfect way to show their home was modern. Entire houses were built with this bold, one-color look. But bold doesn't always last. Families soon realized that a pink bathroom wasn't just hard to decorate, but looked dated almost instantly. Unlike neutral colors, pink can't blend in with other styles. If one tile cracked, replacements were nearly impossible to match. Homeowners soon wanted simpler shades, and developers dropped pink completely. The bathroom fad vanished as fast as it had appeared. In the 1950s, milk was delivered daily to front doors, and the milk chute became a new feature in houses. Builders cut small doors into the kitchen or pantry walls so couriers could slide bottles straight inside. Dairies promoted them as sanitary, and families loved avoiding muddy shoes on the porch or spoiled milk left outside.
And a few cracked and damaged mortar joints. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this damaged chute. We're going to tooth out the brickwork.
It felt futuristic and convenient for its time. That convenience didn't last. Grocery stores took over, and milk delivery faded by the late 1950s. Suddenly, the small doors were thin, drafty holes in the wall. They let in pests, made houses colder, and created security concerns because they could be pried open. Families sealed them up, and builders dropped them altogether. The milk chute, once seen as clever, ended up being one of the shortest-lived modern features of the decade. Wall intercom systems were sold in the 1950s as futuristic household helpers. A speaker in the kitchen, bedrooms, and living room meant parents could call the kids, announce meals, or even play music throughout the house. Electronics companies showed them off at fairs, making families feel like they were living in a home straight out of science fiction.
To make telephone videos, so now you're all stuck with him because he wants to see him.
But anyway,
For a short time, they looked advanced and exciting. But once installed, they became a headache. Static filled the speakers, but the wires broke down, and repairs cost more than they were worth. The sound quality was so poor that shouting across the hall often worked better. As technology improved, these bulky wall units looked clumsy next to portable phones and radios. Constructors soon noticed interest had vanished. The intercom craze faded as fast as it had begun. Glass block windows made quite a statement in the 1950s. Builders promoted them as a blend of privacy and light, and magazines described them as stylish, futuristic glass walls. They were heavy, durable, and gave homes a touch of industrial modernism.
Everything that I have here for now. I'm going to show you what you do here when you're using these little glass block space case. So
families were told they could have brightness without worrying about nosy neighbors peeking in. They didn't expect how uncomfortable they were. Glass blocks trapped heat, making houses stuffy in summer and cold in winter. They were hard to clean, expensive to repair, and harsh against soft home decor. Many homeowners complained that their houses felt more like factories than homes. By the end of the decade, enthusiasm vanished. The feature was left behind because beauty and practicality rarely lined up in real day-to-day living. The fold-out ironing board was meant to save time for 1950s homemakers. Builders installed them in kitchen walls, laundry rooms, or closets. Flip a panel open, and a board folded out neatly, ready for use. Appliance companies promoted them in magazines as space savers for busy families who wanted tidy, efficient homes.
Board. And what's great now with the laundry room is I have a built-in ironing board that actually rotates into the cabinet. So when I take that out and unfold.
For a little while, it seemed like an invention that would stay forever. But reality hit quickly. The boards were flimsy, rigid to replace when warped, and locked into one location, whether convenient or not. Families found portable ironing boards sturdier, easier to move, and more flexible. Instead of feeling modern, the fold-out versions became a frustrating dead weight on the wall. By the late 1950s, builders quietly removed them from designs. What started as a symbol of convenience became a reminder of poor planning. The 1950s loved experiments in living room design, and the sunken conversation pit became one of the strangest. Builders lowered part of the floor, surrounded it with cushions or sofas, and advertised it as the perfect place for guests to gather.
This cabin, and this is your living space, but it is a conversation pit. I think this is so cool that it's a sunken.
Magazines called it modern, cozy, and futuristic, turning living rooms into showpieces. Families who wanted to feel stylish welcomed the idea at first, but it was not as glamorous in practice. Cleaning the lowered space was difficult, older relatives struggled with the steps, and kids often tripped or got hurt. Furniture went out of style fast, leaving the pits awkward and empty. Instead of making gatherings better, they made them less comfortable. The design lost its appeal. The sunken pit proved that style without function never lasts long in a family home. In the 1950s, builders proudly installed steel kitchen cabinets. Painted in glossy colors like mint green or butter yellow, they were marketed as the kitchens of tomorrow. Appliance makers claimed they were cleaner, more durable, and easier to maintain than wood. Families initially loved the sleek industrial shine that matched new refrigerators and stoves. But problems appeared fast. The metal dented, scratched, and rusted, leaving kitchens worn long before their time. The noise of clanging doors also frustrated homeowners. Unlike warm wood, the cold steel felt unwelcoming in daily use. The metal cabinets looked outdated and harsh when tastes shifted toward natural finishes. By the late 1950s, families wanted them gone. What started as a bold design choice quickly became a decorating regret. Laundry chutes were added to 1950s homes as a time-saving trick. Builders installed them in upstairs hallways so families could drop dirty clothes straight to the basement laundry room. Home magazines praised them as clever, and children even found them fun, sliding socks and shirts down the chute like a game. For a short while, they made laundry feel easier.
And what this was the idea behind it was like a laundry chute, right? You open this door up, you drop your laundry in there.
The fun ended when problems stacked up. Clothes often got stuck halfway, basements smelled up the rest of the house, and children tried climbing into them, creating real dangers. Families started covering them up, realizing they caused more stress than they solved. Laundry chutes quickly lost their appeal. They failed because a shortcut only caused more problems and safety worries. Pull-chain toilets appeared in 1950s homes as part of a short design revival. The water tank was installed high on the wall, and a dangling chain released a dramatic flush. Builders advertised them as powerful, classic, and different from ordinary low-tank models. Some homeowners liked the novelty, enjoying the unusual look in their bathrooms.
And flushes. You pull the chain instead of the lever like today.
But the charm didn't last. Chains broke often, tall tanks were hard to clean, and repairs became costly. Families soon realized simpler toilets worked better and took up less space. The design clashed with the sleek modern bathrooms people wanted by the late 1950s. Builders quickly abandoned them, and the pull-chain toilet slipped back into history. It failed because novelty rarely outweighs comfort and practicality in everyday life. Alcoa carefree aluminum homes were a bold experiment in the 1950s. Alcoa wanted to show that entire houses could be built from aluminum, promising low maintenance and a modern, futuristic look. Architect Charles M. Goodman designed these kits.
Friends, and welcome. Today I'm so excited to show you an Eichler home.
And they were pitched as stylish, easy to clean, and practically indestructible. Families were told never to repaint, repair, or deal with rotting wood again. But the dream didn't last. The homes cost more than expected, and buyers found them cold, noisy, and impractical. Only a fraction of the planned homes were ever built, and Alcoa quickly abandoned the project. By the end of the 1950s, these carefree homes had vanished from the market, and they are remembered today as a fascinating but failed experiment in modern housing. In the 1950s, vinyl flooring got a wild upgrade. Home designers started installing bold, colorful patterns on kitchen and living room floors, from zigzags and diamonds to abstract shapes that practically screamed modernity. These floors were advertised as fun, futuristic, and easy to clean, making them a must-have for families wanting a stylish, cutting-edge home.
Tile is all Ken Tile makes, so they really know how.
See Easy Clean Solid Vinyl Tile at your Ken Tile.
Unfortunately, the trend didn't last. Many homeowners quickly grew tired of the intense colors and busy patterns. The vinyl could also fade or peel, leaving a messy, unattractive floor. Builders soon abandoned these extreme designs, choosing simpler, neutral floors instead. Bold vinyl patterns vanished, living on only in old photos and nostalgic stories. TV lamps with creepy animal shapes were a strange 1950s innovation. Designers thought adding animal-shaped bases, sometimes cats, dogs, or birds, would make lamps a fun, quirky part of living rooms. These were sold as conversation starters, blending decor with function while showing off the owner's playful style.
Black Panther mid-century lamp. And yes, I paid $10 for that one.
But most families didn't like them. The lamps often looked cheap, weird, or even unsettling. Kids sometimes found them scary, and adults thought they clashed with modern decor. These quirky lamps quickly disappeared from stores and homes, never making a comeback, and are now remembered only as a strange, short-lived design fad.